Hello guys and welcome back to the series Gems vs Frauds. It's for Game Week 3. I've watched every Game Week 2 fixture and I've taken a list and I extended the list from Game Week 1 and I've prepared 5 gems versus 5 frauds that are going to be presented. Have in mind that the frauds do not mean that they are not going to be viable options, but they're not performing as expected and as they were rumored at the start of the season. Today I've prepared some cheap players that are all under 6 million to be the gems, as it's a really well oiled machines in their teams and they're playing really well, and I like how they are performing for the price that they are costing. And the other players are just players that were so highly hyped at the start of the season, but it's not doing that very well. So now let's dive into the first player. If you think I'm missing someone or you want to add someone, please drop it in the comment section. It's very much appreciated if you give me your input. Starting with the gems, the first gem is Amad Diallo. I know that you're going to say, but he's not nailed, he's not that, he's not this. But I believe that he will get a lot of minutes this season. He has been performing really well. He was onto the field until the 89th minute when they were needing a goal to win, while Rashford and even Bruno Fernandes were subbed off earlier. So I believe Diao and Garnacho are going to do really well. He's only 4% owned, so I consider him still a differential player, and he scored a goal. He got 3 points the first game, so 9 points in 2 games for 5 million player. That's a really good one. Benek, one of my regular viewers, is owning Amad Diallo, and he mentioned him to me at the start of the season, and I would say that he's doing really well, especially for the price that you are getting. Next up is Liverpool, but then it's Southampton and Palace, who are not too good defensively, so you can monitor him for 1 more week, and if you would like, you can get a cheap option from Manchester United that can go into your squad. I believe that the 2 of the fixtures are away, so that's not ideal, but still, even away from home, Manchester United can perform really well. Going into the second player, this is Morgan Rogers. Now this is the most discussed player currently for Game Week 3, and that's for a reason. I know that there are 2 blanks next to his name, and there isn't a lot of data showing that he had a lot of expected goals to score or to assist, but with the fixtures with Leicester, Everton, Wolves and Ipswich, like those are 4 of the 5 worst defense currently. So I'm pretty excited to get someone from Villa, and I believe Rogers playing 90 minutes in both fixtures, so he's more nailed than Bailey, as it seems, until Watkins gets up to speed. I believe Rogers is not going anywhere. I don't know what will happen till the deadline of Game Week 3, as the transfer window would have closed, but we will know if Villa would have expanded their attacking options or that those are going to be the guys. And up until Game Week 5, when Champions League starts, I believe we can get several returns from Morgan Rogers, and even if he starts being rotated, we can easily take him out and we will continue onwards with more of the cheap picks that I'm proposing to you. But for now, I believe that Morgan Rogers is in a really great place. He already had a price rise. I didn't bring him into my squad because I do not want to do that, especially when the transfer window is closing. We can have some shenanigans happening on the last day, so I want to be prepared. So I'm willing to take a price increase into my player. That means that if he goes to 5.3, for example, I would be able to sell him for 5.2, and a lot of players wouldn't be able to do that. So yeah, there are some benefits for waiting a little bit for a player to price rise if you can afford him. So I do not believe that I'm in a bad position, and I believe that he can do pretty well. Next up is a player called Sam Smodic. He is a player from Ipswich. I know that Ipswich are not the best team yet in the Premier League, and they will most probably never be, but the fixtures are good for them. From Game Week 3 up until Game Week 10, they face only Villa. So if you're looking for a player to invest from Ipswich, I believe that Smodic is the best guy. He was the top scorer in the Champions League, in the Championship, last season, and now he is just willing to score goals. And after losing against City and Liverpool, up until Game Week 11, they do not face anyone apart from Villa that is as dangerous as the teams, but no one is as dangerous as Liverpool and City. Maybe Arsenal, but still the worst fixtures are behind him, and you can go for cheap to Ipswich attack. I don't know if he is going to have penalties. That's not confirmed. I don't see them and him taking penalties, but still he might be an option. But Fulham, Brighton, Southampton, West Ham, Everton, Leicester, those are fixtures that you can capitalize on, and especially if you get a player to rotate with, he's a very, very solid shout out for a wildcard pick even. So yeah, I'm more than happy to present him to you. I believe that he's going to do well. Maybe you need to monitor him at least 1 or 2 weeks more, but if you want to take a punt, that's a really, really solid option, and at 0.4, he's going to be an amazing investment. Next up is Semenyo. I thought that Bournemouth will become way worse when they've lost Solanke, but they just became a different team. He was so advanced against Newcastle. He was doing really, really well. He has 2 expected attacking returns and he already has 2 attacking returns delivered. He is not a good bonus points magnet though, as it's not looking very likely that he will be getting a lot of the bonus, as in a 1-1 draw he got only 1 bonus even though he scored a goal, and in a 1-1 draw when he made an assist, he did not qualify for the bonus points, so that's a little bit questionable. You have players in the same price range like Smith Rowe, who are very highly on the bonus points as they do a lot of dribbles and they end up completed. Semenyo can be a really good differential. I know the fixture run is not amazing, like if you have a benching option for him for game week 5 and game week 8 and 9 and 10, you can go for him. But if you do not, it's going to be a little bit tricky. But if you're having already a Villa player, you are already with a Brighton player, you can safely get Semenyo and just you can rotate him in game week 4 and 5 with a Brighton asset and you'll be good to go. In game week 6 and 7, that can be an amazing rotation option once again, as you have Ipswich and Nottingham Forest, and then Southampton and Leicester for Semenyo and for a Brighton player, so that sounds nice in my opinion. So you can get a cheap player from Brighton and just rotate around the team. And the final player that I would like to recommend is called Thomas Souček. He's 5 million, he's 3% owned, which quite surprised me. He's not a good bonus points magnet as well, but he is scoring goals and he's into dangerous opportunities. If he continues doing so and playing like he does already, he is going to be way more dangerous. I know that several players are not yet part of the West Ham squad, and we need to see when the full team is there how they're going to line up, but he can be a really, really solid differential, especially after game week 3. I don't see a very solid defensive team. Maybe Fulham are a solid defensive side, but until then, up until Arsenal, you can go and you can bench him as a 5 million, so Souček can be a really good investment. They don't have Europe, so it's going to be a little bit tricky, but for 5 million, you cannot expect a lot, and he has already returned twice, so he might be a really, really solid option. That's for the gems that I want to present to you. The most expensive is 6 million, the highly owned is 11%, so you have some opportunities to go and smash it from the start with those differential players that can enable expensive ones like Palmer, Saka and etc. Everyone is presenting the expensive players, go for Palmer, go for Saka, bring Haaland, bring blah 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 blah, but I don't see a lot of content around the cheap players, and I believe those cheap bargains can be really, really good for you. Now going into the frauds list that I've prepared, we're starting with Pickford Go. They have been terrible. Defensively, Pickford had been poor as well. And even though there is a strong fixture oncoming, like after Villa and maybe Palace and Newcastle, it's a way easier. But still, I don't like how they are defending. Brantwaite is out. They have no senior right back at the moment. They have not brought anyone in. And until I see some improvement, Pickford might become the best 4.5 keeper at some point, even though he started as a 5 million. We need to see what's going on, but yeah, I'm not willing to go there yet. I'm hold and see, but for now he's on the fraud list for sure, and I'm going to monitor him massively. Next up is the only player that is making another return into the fraud list, and that is Nkunku, and for me he is going to be just like that, a fraud. As you can see, he played 64 minutes, not in each game combined, so yeah, that does not scream returns, that does not scream a lot of safe options and etc. And at 10%, he can easily go down to 6 million and become an option at some point in the season if a lot of players gets injured or by any chance he becomes more nailed. But for now, he is a hard avoid. If anyone has him, I believe he should be the guy that is funding your transfer to a Villa player. And if you do not own him, just do not get him, in my opinion. Next up is a player that is a little bit questionable. He got 90 minutes as well combined in both fixtures. I believe that he can start some games and then he cannot. Against Spurs, I see him starting as they are not as physical as, for example, Bournemouth were. But then when they get to physical teams, he might be rested, especially against Everton. I don't know. I don't know what to believe for him. He got a clean sheet. So overall, 6-pointer. It's not the end of the world if you own him, but I would be hard avoiding to bring him in until we see all the defenders from Newcastle fit and playing. I don't know. I do not know how they're going to line up. The only player that I know that is going to start is Nick Pope. Everything else is up for grabs. Livramento, by the looks of it, is looking solid, but I cannot guess, so I'm not going to do anything. And yeah, Lewis Hall makes the fraud list, just like the other players so far. The next two players that I'm going to present are a little bit more controversial. Next one is Gordon. You're going to say, okay, but he returned 10 points. He's got 13 points. How is he on the fraud list? Yes, but I did not like how he played. He played in a 4-4-2 formation when they started with Murphy and with Joelinton on the flanks. And Gordon was like a second striker and he was just not involved. For me, he was the worst player on the field until he scored. When Harvey Barnes entered the frame, he became more of an interesting pick as they were attacking the wings and he was doing well, but until I see some improvement from Newcastle and from the positioning of Gordon, they are a hard avoid for me to bring in. I'm even willing to sell Isaac. I know that Gordon next week against Spurs can perform and just score like a billion goals and we just laugh at my pick, but honestly, I don't see that happening currently and it's going to be quite tricky for him to start performing because he's tired and he just looks tired, so he's making the fraud list for now. Let's see, next week he may just go out of it, but yeah, for me for now he is just not a player to get. Maybe not a player to sell, but not a player to get for sure. And the final guy here is Bruno Fernandes. You're going to say, oh my god, he's got one expected goal involvement. How is he a fraud? Because he cannot seem to play with the left foot. All the time he's trying to do a Travella pass or a Travella shot when he is on the left foot and he just do not want to cross it, do not want to shoot with the left foot. Then I thought that he was a 90 minutes player, but when they needed a goal, he got subbed off at the 78th minute. So that's a little bit worrying. For the price that you are paying, you need a nailed player. And you need a player that is going to perform and going to score and not going to get into good positions and they just flop. I was more excited when he was playing in game week 1, like he scored a really solid. Oh, so he has 2 expected goals. It's 1.09 per 90. Sorry. So yeah, he's got 1 expected goal return per 90 and he's got none. So that's a little bit worrying. And yeah, you're going to say Eze is the same, but you're paying 1.5 million more, and Eze is still the nailed player and the talismanic player, while Bruno seems to get subbed off. I don't know what caused this, but I'm a little bit worried there. I would not sell him right now. I would give him the chance maybe up until the Southampton game. But if you need funds to transfer Salah, Saka, Palmer, or anyone, I believe he is the guy that you need to sell. If I owned him, I would be keeping him because I got him for an extensive period of time. I already mentioned at the start of the season that Bruno Fernandes is a season holder. He needs to be in your team for the 38 game weeks in order for you to get the points that he's going to present. Like as you can see, apart from 4 seasons ago, he's relatively around the 160 points and he has been playing a lot of the games. Like in 2021 he did amazingly well and he scored 18 and assisted 14, but it's just not his style anymore in my opinion. Yeah, double-digit goal scored in the last 2 from 3 seasons, but still you need to hold him for the whole season and that can be a little bit frustrating because by the looks of it, no one is giving time to anyone currently. And yeah, that does not feel so great, but still, not the end of the world to keep Bruno. I hope you enjoy with my picks about my team. I'm going to prepare a team selection video for tomorrow. I'm having a little bit of a dilemma. What should I do? Should I use my 2 free transfers? Should I rope? Should I prepare? I need to see how I'm going to do. But yeah, that will happen further down the road, and you see it tomorrow on the deadline stream. We're going to discuss the transfers. I'm not going to do any transfer apart from maybe if Rogers is going to price rise on Friday again. I'm just going to buy him to catch the first price rise and to be happy with it. But still, yeah, I would not be doing anything rush, and I will be holding the players currently that I own. Thank you for watching. Thank you for participating. If you think I avoided someone, please mention it in the comment section. If you want to be part of my mini league, there is a link in the description to follow. There are some prizes at the end of the season that you're going to win, so let's see who wins it. Let's hope we continue with our good run of fixtures, and let's see how we're going to perform. But for now, guys, I'll be heading out. Bye!